Sarvajna is seventh in the ascending genealogical line from Rupa Goswami. He was highly respected amongst the Brahmanas of the Karnataka. Thus, he was also referred to as Jagat Guru. Being a Brahmana from the Yajurved clan, who are descendant of Bharadwaj, Sarvajna was a erudite scholar of all Shastras and theological treatises. Attracted by Sarvajna's scholastic ability and admirable qualities, students flocked from different parts of the country to study under him. Sarvajna was also a king, and Sarvajna's son, Aniruddha, was a great Yajurved scholar and was admired by all. Anuruddha had two wives and two sons, and his sons were Rupeshwara and Harihara. Rupeshwara became theologically astute, whereas Harihara became skilled in the use of weapons. When Anuruddha died, the kingdom was divided between the two sons. But Harihara occupied the land of Rupeshwara by force. So in a helpless condition, Rupeshwara and his family migrated to Paurastades, Paurasya Des, where he became friends with the local king, Srikareswar. Rupeshwar's son, Padmanabha, acquired great fame due to his handsome features, admirable qualities, erudition, and wealth. Padmanabha moved his home to the village of Nabhat, modern Naihati, on the bank of Bhagirathi. Haribo. Bhagirathi river is very, very strong. Haribo. So Padmanabha had 18 daughters and 5 sons, and the youngest son was named Mukunda. Mukunda's son, Kumardev, was an extremely religious man. And when religious upheaval occurred in Naihati, Kumardev moved to Bakla, Chandradweep in Jessore. And he is said to have settled for some time at Fatiyabad, located between Naihati and Bakla. The 3 most renowned sons of Kumardev were Sanatan, Rupa, and Anupama. When their father died, these 3 sons went to their maternal uncle's home in Sakurma, near the capital of Gauda, where they continued their studies. Rupa Goswami was one of the 6 Goswamis associated with Sri Gauranga Lila. According to GGD 180, he was Sri Rupa Manjari in Krishna Lila. He occupied a responsible post in the service of the Badshah Hussain Shah of Gauda, and he later renounced everything and surrendered himself at the feet of Lord Gauranga. His fascinating biography is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhaktamala, etc. Narottam Das has highly praised him as Sri Chaitanya Monohabhista Stapaka, the implementer of Lord Chaitanya's desires. Rupa Goswami was specifically commanded by Lord Chaitanya to carry out two tasks. One, to relocate and preserve the lost pilgrimage places of Vrindavan, and to write and preach Vaishnava theology. So from Prayag, Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan. He then visited his native home where he settled his property concerns. Thereafter, he traveled on to Nilachal to meet Lord Chaitanya. And while staying at Gauda, Rupa Goswami developed the desire to write the Vigdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava Natak. Initially, he planned to present the Brajalila and the Puralila together in one drama, with the view of calming the intensity of the Braj Viraha by including the Dwarka Lila. However, while in Satyabhampura, he was commanded by Satyabhama Devi to write two separate dramas. In Nilachal, Lord Chaitanya also gave him the same instruction. So only those who appreciate the true Vaishnava spirit will understand the immense pleasure which Lord Chaitanya and his associate derive from listening to this drama. After surcharging and empowering Rupa Goswami with divine energy, Lord Chaitanya sent him back to Vrindavan. The following is a list of the most well-known books of Rupa Goswami: Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjvala Nilamani, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Vigdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava, Nikunja Rahasya Stava, Stavamala, Sri Radha Krishna Gunodesh Uptis, Deepika, Mathura Mahatmya, Uddhava Sandesh, Ham Sadutam, Danakeli Kumudi, Sri Krishna Janmat Tividi, Pratyutya Tamanjari, and Nataka Chandrika. The following are references from Chaitanya Charitamrita which deal with Rupa Goswami. 21165, working as Dabir Khas in the employment of the king of Gauda. He wrote a letter to Lord Chaitanya prior to meeting him and also received a reply. He had a discussion relating to Lord Chaitanya with Hussain Shah when the Lord visited Ramkeli. On returning from Hussain Shah's place, Rupa had a talk with Sanatan and both went to meet Lord Chaitanya. On receiving information from the two messengers that Lord Chaitanya had already left for Vrindavan, Rupa took his younger brother Anupama along with him to meet the Lord. Rupa sent a letter to Sanatan conveying this information and encouraged him to escape from prison with the help of the money he had left in the custody of a grocer. So Rupa meets Lord Chaitanya at Prayag, expresses his humility and aspirations, informs the Lord about Sanatan, and fixes up his residence close to the Lord's place. Rupa meets Vallabha Bhatt at Prayag. Bhatt expresses awe at the humility and devotion of Rupa. Rupa accompanied Lord Chaitanya to the house of Bhatt at Adaila village. Lord Chaitanya instructed Rupa for 10 days at Prayag on the theology of Krishna, Bhakti Ras, etc. The Lord empowered Rupa with his own divine energy. Rupa and Sanatan first met Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur, and later meet Lord Chaitanya. They expressed their humility and spiritual aspiration and obtained the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya introducing the two brothers to the devotees and requests them to show their mercy to them. The two brothers requested the Lord to leave that place and not to go to Vrindavan with a large crowd of people. They then returned home. Upon arriving at home, the two brothers began to devise plans by which they could abandon their wealth. By boat, they visited their ancestral home and distributed their wealth. Sri Rupa Goswami heard that Lord Chaitanya had returned to Jagannath Puri and was preparing to go to Vrindavan through the forest. Thus, he sent two people to Puri to find out when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would depart for Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami is instructed by Lord Chaitanya to go to Vrindavan. And the Lord tells Rupa that later he can go to Jagannath Puri through Bengal, and there he will meet the Lord again. So Rupa reaches Mathura and meets Subuddhi Rai at Dhruva Ghat. Rupa wins the friendship of Subuddhi Rai, and together they visit the 12 forests of Vrindavan. After 1 month in Vrindavan, Rupa leaves for Prayag, following the route along the bank of Ganga. From Prayag, Rupa and his brother go to Kasi and meet the devotees. Rupa leaves for Gauda after staying in Kasi for 10 days. While in Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami desired to write dramas concerning the pastime of Lord Krishna. Thus, he composed the introductory verses of a drama. On his way to Gaudades, he had been thinking of how to write the action of the drama. Thus, he had made some notes and begun to write. On reaching Gauda, Anupama breathed his last. Rupa leaves for Nilachal. Rupa halted for a night during his journey at Satyabhamapur in Orissa. At night, he had a vision of the deity Satyabhama, who commanded Rupa to write a separate drama. So Rupa first planned to write a single drama comprising both Brajalila and Puralila. Now, on receiving the divine command, Rupa decided to write two separate ones. Rupa arrived at Nilachal and stays at the residence of Haridas Thakur, where he meets Lord Chaitanya. He also met all other devotees, and Lord Chaitanya urged them to shower their grace upon Rupa. And Rupa was loved by them all. Rupa joins Lord Chaitanya daily in Ishtagosti and participates in the cleaning of Gundicha temple. Lord Chaitanya gives instructions that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. At the command of Satyabhama and Lord Chaitanya, Rupa arranges to write two separate dramas. Rupa writes a verse interpreting the slok, Ya Komarahara, chanted by Lord Chaitanya during Rath Yatra. He wrote this on a palm leaf and placed it in his thatched robe and went to take a bath. Lord Chaitanya found that verse and was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Thus he showered his mercy upon Rupa. Lord Chaitanya showed that verse to Swarupa Damodar. Lord Chaitanya instructs Swarupa to teach Rupa Vaishnava theology. And Lord Chaitanya feels ecstasy upon reading the Sanskrit verse composed by Rupa, beginning with Tunde Tandvinini. Lord Chaitanya goes to meet Rupa at the house of Haridas Thakur, along with Sarvabhauma, Ramananda, Swarup, etc. There the Lord glorifies Rupa's qualities. Rupa meets the devotees and they all share the beauty of the verses. Priya Shoham Krishna and Tunde Tandavini. Lord Chaitanya personally guides Rupa to invoke the grace of all the devotees. Considering Rupa to be competent to understand the science of rasa, Lord Chaitanya transmitted his divine energy to Rupa and commanded him to write books about bhakti. Lord Chaitanya expresses his desire to the devotees to endow Rupa with the ability to describe Brajalila, Prema Rasa. Haridas Thakur praises the fortune of Rupa Goswami. Rupa participates with Lord Chaitanya in the holy festival, and Lord Chaitanya bids farewell to Rupa after empowering him to go to Vrindavan and write transcendental literature to excavate the whole lost holy places and to establish the service of Lord Krishna and preach the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. Taking leave of the devotees, Rupa goes to Vrindavan via Gauda. Name of some of the books compiled by Rupa Goswami. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami both preach extensively and build temples and install deities in Vrindavan. When Raghunath Das Goswami visited Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatan treated him just like a brother. His extraordinary renunciation and devotion. Rupa has darshan of the Gopal deity. Rupa and Sanatan's conduct in Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya reveals the names of Rupa and Sanatan. And Lord Chaitanya described the glories of Rupa and Sanatan to his associates. Sri Rupa Goswami was born in 1493 AD, 1415 Saka. In order to complete their education, they lived at their uncle's house in a small village named Shakurma, near the capital of Gauda. Having heard the glories of Sri Rupa and Sanatan from many intelligent persons, Badshah Hussain Sahab Gowda appointed the two brothers as minister in the court. Though reluctant to accept the Badshah's offer, out of fear of the Yamana king, they agreed to take the post. Hussain Shah happily offered them enormous amounts of wealth and riches. Sri Rupa and Sanatan thus lived in the village of Ramkeli, the capital of Gauda. Many great Brahmana scholars from different parts of the country visited their house regularly, and the two brothers took great pleasure in serving and arranging accommodations for them. The brother of Sarvabhauma, the famous Vidya Vachaspati, was the philosophy teacher of Sri Rupa and Sanatan. As mentioned in the Dasama Tippani of the Bhagavad, their other teachers were Sri Paramanand Bhattacharya and Sri Ramapad Vadrapad. From their early childhood, Rupa, Sanatan, and Anupama were very devotionally inclined. Thinking of the wonderful land of Vrindavan, they used to plant trees like Tamal, Kadamba, Utika, and Tulsi groves in the nearby garden of their house. They also dug two lakes in their garden, naming them Radhakund and Shyamkund. Every day they were absorbed in the service of Madan Mohan. When they heard the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they become extremely anxious to meet him. A transcendental voice spoke to them saying, "Be patient, and deliverer of the mankind will soon come to visit." When they heard that Sri Gaura Hari had taken sannyas and gone to Puri, Sanatan and Rupa fainted on the ground in grief. Thinking that they would never have the opportunity to see the Lord, they began to lament profusely. Suddenly a voice spoke to them saying, "Do not lament. The ocean of mercy, Sri Gaura Hari, will soon come here, that they have a sight of relief." The devotees were mad with joy, and Mother Sachi, overwhelmed with ecstasy, happily cooked various preparations for her dear son. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the house of Sri Advaita Acharya in Santipur for some days and then traveled on to Ramkeli. In this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at the beautiful village of Ramkeli. There he danced in ecstasy, and millions swarmed around him to take the dust of his lotus feet. When news of Mahaprabhu's powerful presence reached Badshah Hussain Shah, he said, without giving in charity, "This fellow has so many people following behind him. He must be a great prophet." Thus he told the Kazi and the Yavanas not to obstruct him in any way and to allow him to do anything and go anywhere. And due to the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire village of Ramkeli overflowed with joy. People from all corners came to see the Lord when the Badshah asked his special representative, Kesava Chhatri, about Mahaprabhu's presence. Kesava Chhatri said, "Yes, I have heard that a beggar sannyasi has come here along with few followers." The Badshah said, "What are you talking about? Millions of people are walking with him." Hearing this, Kesava Chhatri smiled slightly. The Badshah then privately spoke to Dabir Khas, Rupa Goswami, who replied, "Why are you asking me? Ask your own mind. It is this Goswami who has given you this kingdom. It is your good fortune that he has taken birth in your country. Go and see him yourself. Can any human being possess such magnetic power of attraction?" The Badshah was pleased by Sanatan's sweet words and ordered that Mahaprabhu be allowed to do whatever he likes. And after returning to his residence, Dabir Khas and his brother decided, after much consideration, to go see the Lord incognito. Thus, in dead of night, the two brothers, Dabir Khas and Sakara Malik, went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incognito. First they met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, who told Lord Chaitanya about two personalities, Rupa and Sanatan, had come to see him. In great humility, both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth, and each binding a cloth around his neck. They fell down like rods before the Lord. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers were overwhelmed with joy, and out of humility they began to cry. And the Lord asked them to get up and assure them all of good fortune. The two brothers got up and humbly offered prayers with folded hands. And after hearing the prayers of Dabir Khas and Sakara Malik, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Dabir Khas, you two brothers are my old servants. From this day your name will be changed to Silarupa and Sri Sanatana. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble. You have written several letters showing your humility, and from this I have understood your heart. I really had no business in coming to Bengal, but I have come just to see you too." In accordance with the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers immediately touched the lotus feet of all the Vaishnava associates of the Lord present, including Nityanand, Haridas Thakur, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, Mukunda, Jagdanand, Murari, and Vakreshwar, who all became very happy and congratulated the brothers for having received the mercy of the Lord. So on the eve of the Lord's departure from Ramkeli, he blessed Sri Sanatan and Rupa by saying, "Very soon Krishna will free you from the entanglement of material life." Later, the younger brother of Sri Sanatan and Rupa, Sri Anupama, along with his son and other family members, worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sang his glories. Mahaprabhu placed his hand on the head of Sri Jiva, the only son of Anupama. After Lord departed from Ramkeli, Rupa and Sanatan began to devise means to get out of their government service. Both brothers appointed some brahmanas to perform Purascharan ceremonies and chant the holy name of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami deposited 10,000 gold coin with a grocer, and the balance he bought in 2 boats to a place called Bakla Chandradweep. There he divided this money among the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and his relatives, and a portion he kept for emergency measures and personal needs. When Rupa Goswami was informed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri through the forest of Madhya Pradesh. He sent two people to Jagannath Puri to find out when the Lord would leave for Vrindavan. And when Mahaprabhu started for Vrindavan, Rupa left home and sent news to Sanatan that he was leaving with his younger brother Anupama Malik to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Meanwhile, Sanatan Goswami told the Nawab that he was sick and could not attend his work. Giving this excuse, he sat home and studied Srimad Bhagavatam with learned Brahmana scholars. The Nawab Hussain Shah first sent his personal physician to see what the real facts were. Then he personally came to see why Sanatan was not attending to official business. Knowing that he wanted to resign his post, the Nawab then had him arrested and imprisoned. The Nawab then went off to attack Orissa. Rupa Goswami finally reached Prayag while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting in a solitary place in a home of Deccan Brahmana. Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabh Anupama came to meet him. Both brothers were overwhelmed with ecstatic emotion and immediately fell down on the ground like a rocks. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see Srila Rupa and told him, stand up, my dear Rupa, come here. It is not possible to describe Krishna's mercy, for he has delivered you both from the well of material enjoyment. After this, the Lord sat them down by his side and asked, what news do you have of Sanatan? Rupa replied, Sanatan has now been arrested by the government of Hussain Shah. If you kindly save him, he can be liberated from that entanglement. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Sanatan has already been released from his confinement and he will very soon meet with me. At the time of Mahaprabhu's visit to Prayag, Sri Vallabhacharya was living in the village of Airila on the other bank of Triveni. So one day he invited the Lord to his house for lunch, and Rupa and Anupam accompanied him. The Lord introduced the brothers Rupa and Vallabha to him. From a distance, the brothers fell on the ground and offered obeisances to Vallabha with great humility. And when Vallabha Bhattacharya walked over them, they ran away to a more distant place. And Rupa Goswami said, I'm untouchable and most sinful. Please do not touch me. So Vallabha Bhattacharya was very surprised at this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, was very pleased, and he therefore spoke to him this description of Rupa Goswami. Quote, don't touch him, for he belongs to a very low caste. You are a follower of Vedic principles and are a well-experienced performer of many sacrifices. You also belong to an aristocracy. Unquote. Hearing the holy name constantly vibrated by the two brothers, Vallabha Bhattacharya could understand the hint of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus he said, quote, since these two are constantly chanting the holy name of Krishna, how can they be untouchable? On the contrary, they are most exalted. Unquote. The two brothers lay prostrate on the ground at the feet of Vallabhacharya and praised him eloquently. Due to the great crowd in Prayag, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to a place called thus Swamedha Ghat. It was there that Lord instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 successive days and empowered him to understand the philosophy of devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Rupa, please listen to me. It is not possible to describe devotional service completely. Therefore, I am just trying to give you synopsis of the symptom of devotional service. The ocean of the transcendental mellow of devotional service is so big that no one can estimate its length and breadth. However, just to help you taste it, I'm describing but one drop. Now listen to me. Out of many millions of wise men, one may actually become liberated. And out of many millions of such a liberated person, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna is very difficult to find. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless. He is peaceful. Fruitive workers desire material enjoyment. Jnanis desire liberation. And the yogis desire material opulence. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. And by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. That seed must be watered by hearing and chanting. In this way, the creeper sprouts and gradually, through continued watering, grows more and more and attains the shelter of the desire tree of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is eternally situated in the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, in the topmost region of the spiritual sky. There, the devotee shows the lotus feet of the Lord, which are compared to a wish-fulfilling tree. With great bliss, he tastes the juice of the fruit of love and becomes eternally happy. Unquote. Now, I shall describe the symptoms of pure devotional service. Pure devotional to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is causeless, and it cannot be obstructed in any way. I think we are going over the time. Please pardon me. If you can continue, if not, then the recording will be there. You can read or hear during the daytime or whenever you have a time. Such a devotee does not expect saloka, shasti, sarupya, samipya, or oneness with Krishna, even if offered this liberation. That is the verse number 4 of Manaha Siksa. A pure devotee simply wants to serve Krishna. By regularly rendering devotional service, one gradually becomes attached to the Lord. And when that attachment is intensified, it becomes love of Godhead. The basic aspect of prem, when gradually increasing to different states, are affection, abhorrence, love, attachment, further attachment, ecstasy, and great ecstasy. All these stages combined are called sthai bhav, or continuous love of Godhead in devotional service. In addition to these stages, there are vibhava and anubhava. When the higher standard of aesthetic love is mixed with the symptom of sattvika and Vyahichari. The devotee relishes the transcendental bliss of loving Krishna in a variety of nectarian tastes. And according to the devotee, attachment falls within the five categories of Santarati, Dasyarati, Shakyarati, Vatsalyarati, and Madhuryarati. These five categories arises from the devotee's different attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Example of Santa Bhaktas are the 9 Yogendras and the 4 Kumaras. Example of devotees in the Dasya Bhakti are innumerable. For such devotee exist everywhere, such as Raktaka, Chitraka, Daruka, Hanuman, etc. In Vrindavan, examples of devotees in fraternity are Sridham and Sudam. In Dwarka, the Lord's friends are Bhim and Arjuna. In Vrindavan, the devotees in parental love are Mother Yasoda and Father Nanda Maharaj. And in Dwarka, the Lord's parents are Vasudeva and Devaki. The chief devotees in conjugal love are the gopis in Vrindavan, the queens in Dwarka, and the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Srila Rupa Goswami the ultimate limit of the truth about Lord Krishna, the truth about devotional service, and the truth about transcendental mellows, consummating in conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. Finally, he told Rupa Goswami about the ultimate conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam. By entering the heart of Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to ascertain properly the conclusion of all truths. He made him an experienced devotee whose decisions correctly agreed with the verdict of the disciplic successor. Thus, Srila Rupa Goswami was personally empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After giving so much instruction, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Sri Rupa to go to Vrindavan. The Lord then departed for Varanasi. With a grievous heart due to separation from the Lord, Sri Rupa and Anupama started from Vrindavan. Sri Rupa in Nilachal. In Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami began to write a drama. In particular, he composed the introductory verses to invoke good fortune. On his way to Gaudadesh, Rupa Goswami had been thinking of how to write the action of the drama. Thus, he had made some notes and began to write. In this way, the two brothers Rupa and Anupama reached Bengal. But when they arrived there, Anupama died. After performing the funeral rites, Rupa Goswami traveled on. In the province of Orissa, Srila Rupa Goswami rested for a night at Satyabhamapura. That night, he dreamed that a celestially beautiful woman had come before him and very mercifully gave him the following order: write a separate drama about me. By my mercy, it will be extraordinarily beautiful. After having this dream, Srila Rupa Goswami considered, it is the order of the Satyabhama that I write a separate drama for her. Thus, absorbed in thought, he quickly reached Jagannath Puri. And when he arrived, he approached the hut of Haridas Thakur. Out of affectionate love and mercy, Haridas Thakur told Srila Rupa Goswami, quote, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already informed me that you would come here, unquote. Shortly thereafter, the Lord arrived and warmly embraced Rupa. They sat down together and inquired from one another about the auspicious news. The Lord asked Rupa about Sanatan, and Rupa explained that he had not met Sanatan and informed the Lord of Anupama's death. On the next day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again met Rupa Goswami, and with great mercy the Lord introduced him to all the devotees. Every day, the Lord would go to see Rupa Goswami, and whatever prasad he received from the temple, he would deliver to Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Srila Rupa Goswami. The omniscient Lord spoke as follows, quote, do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, for he does not go anywhere else at any time. After saying this, the Lord went to perform his noontime duties, leaving Rupa Goswami somewhat surprised. Satyabhama ordered me to write 2 different dramas. He thought, now I understand that this order has been confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. During the Rath Yatra ceremony, Rupa Goswami heard a verse uttered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the ceremony, and he immediately composed another verse dealing with the same subject. Only Swarup Damodar Goswami knew the purpose for which the Lord recited that verse. According to the Lord's attitude, he used to quote other verses to enable the Lord to relish malice. Rupa Goswami, however, could understand the intentions of the Lord, and thus he composed another verse. After writing this verse on a palm leaf, he put it somewhere in his thatch roof and went to bed in the sea. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there to meet him. And when he saw the leaf pushed into the roof and saw the verse, he read it and was overwhelmed by ecstatic love. At that time, Rupa Goswami returned and offered his obeisances. And the Lord slapped him mildly in love and said, my heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way? Swarup Damodar said, quote, I can understand that you have already bestowed your causeless mercy upon him. No one could otherwise understand this meaning, unquote. So one day, while Rupa Goswami was writing his book, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the cottage of Haridas Thakur, and the Lord inquired, what kind of book are you writing? He held up a palm leaf that was a page of the manuscript, and when he saw the fine handwriting, his mind was very pleased. The handwriting of Rupa Goswami is just like a rose of pearls, he said. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Rupa Goswami to read from his book, Rupa Goswami, because of great shyness, did not read it, but instead remained silent. And when the Lord persisted, Srila Rupa Goswami read, much to everyone's pleasure. After hearing from him, both Ramanand Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to the Lord, quote, without your special mercy, how could this Rupa Goswami have understood your mind? Ramanand remarked to Sri Rupa, this drama of yours is a mind of conclusive statements. After 4 months had passed and the Dola Yatra festival ended, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to Rupa Goswami. The Lord empowered him and bestowed upon him all kind of mercy. Now go to Vrindavan and stay there, the Lord said. You may send here your elder brother, Sanatan. When you go to Vrindavan, stay there, preach transcendental literature, and excavate the lost holy places. Establish the service of Lord Krishna and preach the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotional service. I shall also go to Vrindavan once more. Having thus spoken, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami, who then placed the lotus feet of the Lord upon his head. So, appearance of Govinda Dev. One day, while Rupa Goswami was sitting on the bank of Yamuna, he began thinking, quote, I have failed to carry out the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, unquote. As he was thinking in this way, an attractive Brajvasis appeared there and asked Rupa, why do you look so depressed? So Rupa explained, my life is futile because I have failed to execute the will of the Lord. What is the order of Mahaprabhu? The Brajvasis asked. Rupa replied, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested me to establish the service of Lord Krishna and excavate the lost holy places. The Brajvasis replied, my Lord, please come with me. Srila Rupa Goswami followed the Brajvasis, who took him to a hillock and said, this part is known as Gauratila, and Sri Govinda Devi is lying under this hillock. Every afternoon, Ekai comes here and bathes this hill with her mouth. Saying this, the Brajvasis suddenly disappeared. Sri Rupa puzzled over who the Brajvasi was, and if what he said might be true. The next afternoon, he went to the hill and saw a cow standing there, pouring her milk onto the hill. And Srila Guru Goswami was overwhelmed with joy and anticipation. He rushed to the village and told the Gopas about the incident, and they danced jubilantly. Under the order of Sri Rupa, they all took axes and spades and began to dig at Gauratila. After some time, they uncovered the deity of Sri Govinda Dev, who was more beautiful than millions of cupids. Everyone cheered ecstatically, calling out the name of Hari. With tears in his eyes, Rupa Goswami fell prostrate on the ground before the deity. And news of the deity's appearance spread rapidly throughout the village, and everyone rushed to see the Lord. The Gopas of Braj brought numerous baskets of curd, milk, rice, and vegetables as offering, and the Brahmanas immediately began to cook many varieties of preparations. After the wonderful Abhishek of Sri Govinda Dev, the Brahmanas offered the bhoga to the Lord. Sri Rupa Goswami's joy was boundless. All the Goswamis came for darshan of Sri Govinda Dev, and everyone began to float in the ocean of transcendental bliss. Srila Rupa Goswami immediately sent word of Sri Govinda's appearance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal. And hearing this news, the Lord and his associate were filled with joy. At once, Mahaprabhu sent Sri Kaseshwar Pandit to assist Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan. The manifestations of Vrinda Devi. After the installation of Govinda Dev and Sri Madan Gopal, Sri Rupa Goswami began to meditate upon Sri Vrinda Devi. One night, Vrunda Devi appeared to Sri Rupa and said, quote, I'm living in the bank of Brahmakund. You can find me there, unquote. In the morning, Sri Rupa bathed in the Yamuna and finished his worship. He then went to the bank of Brahmakund and began searching. Suddenly, he came across a celestially beautiful woman of golden complexion. The glowing effulgence of her body lit the entire area, and the air was filled with sweet perfume. Understanding that she was none other than Sri Vrunda Devi, Rupa Goswami immediately began offering prayers. O Vrunda Devi, you are the exalted nurse of Lord Govinda and the fulfiller of Govinda's desire. I glorify you again and again. In this way, Sri Vrunda Devi appeared in this world. Danakeli Kumudi. Sri Rupa Goswami wrote a drama named Lalita Madhav, dealing with the Lord pastime in Dwarka, and gave it to Sri Raghunath Das Goswami to read. However, after reading it, Raghunath Das became so morose and filled with sorrow that he decided to give up his life. Understanding Sri Raghunath's state of mind, Srila Rupa Goswami wrote another book named Danakeli Kaumudi, describing the Lord's eternal pastime in Braj, and gave the book to Sri Raghunath to read. This time, upon reading, Raghunath Das became overwhelmed with happiness, affection for Sri Radhika. One day, Sri Rupa Goswami desired to prepare prayasam for Sri Sanatan, but there were no ingredients for cooking in his cottage. Understanding the mind of her devotees, Sri Radha Thakurani, the fulfiller of her devotees' desire, came to the hut of Sri Rupa in the guise of a milkmaid and brought milk, rice, sugar for him. "O my lord," she said, "please accept this gift." Hearing the girl's voice, Sri Rupa Goswami came out and saw a beautiful young girl standing before him and asked her, "My dear girl, why have you come here?" She replied, "I have bought this gift for serving you." Rupa said, "My dear girl, why have you gone through so much difficulty for my sake?" Sri Radhika answered, quote, "O my father, it has not been any trouble at all. I have brought this gift for serving you, who are such a saintly person," unquote. Rupa requested her to sit down, but she declined. "No, I cannot stay any longer. I have many things to do at home." Saying this, the girl suddenly disappeared. Rupa was astonished by the girl's sudden departure. He then prepared the payasam, offered it to Sri Govindadev, and gave the remnants prasad to Sanatan Goswami. Upon eating the prasad, Sri Sanatan was filled with ecstasy and asked Rupa, "Where did you get the rice and milk to cook this prasad?" Rupa said, "One young milkmaid brought it to me." Sanatan questioned, "Did she suddenly appear before you?" "Yes," Rupa replied. "This morning when I was thinking that I would like to prepare some payasam for you, a girl suddenly arrived with a gift of rice and milk." Hearing this, Sanatan began to cry and told Sri Rupa, quote, "Why could have supplied something which Such a wonderful taste, other than Srimati Radharani herself. The affection of the inhabitants of Braj. So when Sri Sanatana Goswami and Sri Rupa Goswami lived in Braj, they won the heartfelt affection of all the residents there, who regularly brought the two brothers gift of curd and love. The Goswamis also regarded the inhabitants of Braj as the dear associates of Lord Sri Krishna. They respected them in that way and were always concerned about their well-being. In Bhakti Ratnakar, Sri Narhari Chakravarti explains, quote, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami used to know everything about the village of Braj, such as how many sons and daughters they had and how old they were, who had given their son or daughter in marriage, how many cows and bullocks they possessed, how the crops were developing, and what was the conditions of their health. So much social, right? In this way, the Goswamis carefully looked after the people of Braj. From time to time, they give advice relating to health, etc. They were very unhappy to hear of any misery or sorrow suffered by Brajvasis, and were happy to hear any joyful news or jokes shared with them. When they visited different areas of Braj, the inhabitants there did not want them to leave their village. If many days passed without a visit from the Goswamis, the Brajvasis would anxiously seek them out. Thus the Brajvasis were the life of Sri Rupa and Sanatan, and Sri Rupa and Sanatan were the life of the Brajvasis. Hare Krishna. So this is the life of Rupa Goswami. It is so nice to dwell. Also, I think another pastime happened. We have read when we visited the Radha Kund that they were meditating at the Radha Kund, and sun was shining so brightly, and Rupa was doing his bhajan there. So it says that seeing that how much Rupa Goswami is taking the sun heat, Radharani cannot bear that pain. So she came herself and she was standing behind the Rupa Goswami and extended her veil so the shadow can be applied to Rupa Goswami and he don't have to take the direct sunlight. So many wonderful pastimes happen. These are the great personalities. Even just by naming them, our life can become successful. So with those thoughts, let's pray at the divine lotus feet of Rupa Goswami to bestow his mercy upon all of us, so we can little follow in his footsteps and serve them eternally in the Brajadam. So thank you very much. I think that it takes so long.